Hey, this is Jennifer and Megan. We are two sisters from South Carolina on a mission to discover more about our British grandmother's life in London by reading, researching, and sharing her love letters she wrote to her American soldier sweetheart during World War II. Our grandmother Lucy was born and raised in London, England, and our grandfather Jimmie was born and raised in South Carolina. He was in the U.S. Army and was stationed near Salisbury when they first met. At some point, he visited London and he and Lucy met somewhere in Covent Garden. At the time of the first letter that we have, Lucy and Jimmie had met, fallen in love, gotten engaged, and were planning on getting married in London and then moving to South Carolina once the war was over. But before they were able to get married, Jimmie was shipped off to France. They thought he would be coming back to London sometime soon after leaving, but as we now know, that didn't happen. And from the moment they departed at the train station, it will be 2 years before they are reunited. And so this 2-year period that they were apart is what gave us these letters we are reading today. It's such a beautiful love story that we just have to share it. Also, it's taken a life of its own as we've made so many awesome discoveries along the way, and it has become an ongoing research project. So, if you're looking for an interesting, unique perspective on life, love, and London during World War II, then you've found the right place. We will take you through each letter and bring them to life as we have recently traveled to some of the exact places mentioned in these letters. Think of this as a historical love story come to life. So grab your favorite beverage and blanket and prepare to dive in with us. This is the All My Love, Lucy podcast. Are you ready to do this?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
I think I'm ready. Yeah, let's go.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the All My Love Lucy podcast. We're so glad you're here with us for episode number 20.
20! I cannot believe it.
I know.
20 letter episodes, and we want to just say thank you for supporting us and for being here with us and just joining us on the story. And we hope you're enjoying it very much. And if you're a first-time listener, as always, we want to encourage you to go back and start with episode number 1. You can jump in anywhere if you'd like, but it's always best to start at the beginning, because we have covered a lot of information.
Yeah, we have.
Have you gone back and listened to some of the older episodes?
Yeah, I have. We sure have come a long way.
We have, but even still, in the beginning, we kind of were more nervous and everything, but we really covered a lot of great information.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely.
And even going back and watching them ourselves, I have just been amazed at how far we've come with the story and discoveries and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been fun. So we do encourage you to go back to the beginning. Be patient with us. We are super nervous in the beginning. We're still nervous, but we've evolved a little.
Just a little bit.
And our equipment's better, so hopefully that's a little bit better experience too for you all, that our equipment's a little better. Not professional yet, but we'll get there. So this podcast, again, is more like a series, and we do the episodes in chronological order based on the dates of the letters. So that's kind of why we say go back and start there. Since this is our 20th episode, which is so hard to believe, we are going to have a little bit of trivia. I think I said that last time we were going to do some contests or trivia at the end of the episode, so be sure and stick around for that. We're going to give away some prizes next time, so we have some homework for you guys to do. And also, we're going to be taking a survey at the end. In the comment section of wherever you're watching from, if you're on YouTube or Podbean, or you can leave the comments on Facebook, whatever you'd like. We want to know which platform you're watching from. Obviously, if you leave the comment on Podbean or YouTube, we're going to know. But if you want to comment on Facebook, just tell us where you watch. And we're considering making some operational changes with Podbean. So let us know where you're watching from, what platform you use or prefer, so that we can decide what we're going to do going forward. And this information will help us greatly. Also, don't forget, at the end of the episode, we'll have a complete, uninterrupted reading of this letter that we're going to be dissecting here in a minute.
So stick around for that, and let's get started with letter number 20. August 6, 1944. My darling Jimmie, my sister is staying with me over the weekend and has just gone out for a while. So as you see, I am taking the opportunity to write a few lines to my darling. A couple of things here I wanted to talk about. Can you imagine me talking? So this stuck out to me that she waited until her sister Daisy, and her sister had gone out for a little while, and so she's taken the opportunity to write to Jimmie. Now imagine being that polite that you're going to wait until she's gone. Mm-hmm. And I started thinking about contrasting that with today, how we have our cell phones in our hands most all the time. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If somebody's texting us or trying to communicate with us, it doesn't matter if we're at the dinner table or we're out with friends or where we are, we usually pick up that device and respond. Well, most people do, but I'm guilty of it too. Maybe not as much, but yeah. But I just thought about her being that polite that she's gonna wait until Daisy's gone before she writes to him. So I thought that was a bit of a contrast to today's social or the way we communicate and how quick it is and instant communication. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about Daisy for a few minutes. Daisy, her name is actually Lucy Caroline Cossington, and Lucy, our grandmother Lucy, is Gertrude Lucy Caroline Cossington, and their mother was also Lucy Mary Leonora Caroline. So many Lucys. Yeah, Lucy Caroline. And then our older sister, Stacy, she's named after, her middle name is Caroline. So, and then, of course, your middle name is Lucy. So there's a lot of that carried on throughout the generations. So it makes it tricky when we go back and try to find information on ancestry and my heritage to make sure we're talking about the right person. So I'm not really sure where she picked up the nickname Daisy, but even in her letters and on pictures and things like that, she signs Daisy as her name. Mm-hmm. So I'm not really sure where that came from, but Lucy and everyone else always referred to her as Daisy. There is an interesting story that I came across that may have a connection. I'm not sure. I'll get to that in just a minute. But Daisy was 8 years older than Lucy. She was born in 1900. She died in 1986. I did write to her also. I had pen pals with Marion and Muriel. I also remember writing to Daisy, but not much, I don't think. But she died in 1986, and she is the one, remember the 8-day Swiss traveling clock, that the wedding gift? Yeah, I think so. Daisy is the one who gave that to Lucy and Jimmie for their wedding gift before Lucy left to come here. And so I remember that clock sitting on her dresser for all of my childhood that I can remember, being on her side of the house. Mm-hmm. But we also have some letters. I was just showing Megan that we have some letters from Daisy to Jimmie, and talking about Lucy, and they're real sweet. We'll get to those later. They come much later in the story, so we're going to save those for a later date. But she talks about how fond she was of Lucy and how close they were. And so, obviously, Daisy's come here to stay with Lucy for the weekend, so they were probably more like best friends, I would assume. Mm-hmm. She goes on to say, "It feels rather chilly here, and I have just put on the gas fire." Remember I told you I was going to look up the weather? Mm-hmm. So I tried to look up the weather, and if this is accurate, the weather that day, the high was 87 degrees Fahrenheit, 30 degrees Celsius, and the low was 68 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 degrees Celsius. So I'm not really sure. It's August. I'm not really sure. I know the weather in London is variable a lot. I think it's been cold this summer over there this year, but I looked at the weather though, and I don't know why she felt very chilly with those temperatures, if that's correct. So maybe it was just chilly once it got down in the 60s. Yeah, maybe. So, and that she's using the gas fire with all the rations and all that going on. So, I don't know. It's kind of a mystery.
The room looks quite cozy today. Everything looks spick and span, and yesterday I was extravagant and brought 24 marguerites and have a vase on the round table, some on the oak combination and some in the green jug on the mantelpiece beside your picture. And they really do look lovely and so fresh and darling. I miss you so much and wish you could be here to sit in the armchair, which is waiting for you.
So I think I said last time that we were going to get into some home decor, and I did reach out to the realtor who, I don't know if they rent this flat or have sold it in the past or whatever, to see if I could use some of those pictures that I found of the interior of one of the flats there at 133. And I never heard back from them, so I didn't get permission to use the photos that are online. They have a copyright across them, so I don't really know if I could use them. But so we still get an idea of some of the furniture that she had here. She had a round coffee table, I'm assuming. So we can imagine her having a round coffee table, and the oak combination, which I think that's kind of like a hutch or something, isn't it?
I would think so.
Something like that. And then there's a mantelpiece over the fire, and she's put these flowers in a green jug on the mantelpiece. And then, of course, the armchair that she talks about frequently. They must have spent a lot of time in that armchair. Based on how much she refers to that and remembers that. And so these marguerite daisies, I thought that was interesting too. And as much as Lucy uses flowers or sends flowers or receives flowers, and we've talked about florography a lot, I thought this was interesting that Daisy is with her this weekend, and she went out and bought marguerite daisies.
Aw.
I know. I thought surely that was not an accident or just coincidence.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't.
Because she seems to have been very meaningful with her flower choices. Marguerite daisies are small daisy type flowers. They are usually white, pink, or yellow, and they're smaller than what we think of the normal daisies here, or Gerber daisies. They're a little smaller than that. And again, I thought this was interesting that Daisy is visiting, and she went out and got some daisies. And so she also placed them beside Jimmie's photo on the mantelpiece. And so going back to florography, the marguerite flowers have a deep spiritual significance that goes way beyond their simple beauty. They symbolize purity, innocence, and of course, this is what I thought she was getting them for, true love. You think she got those on purpose? and set them beside his picture.
Oh, yeah.
And it also goes on to say the bright white petals represent the purity of the soul, while the yellow center symbolizes the sun, the source of all life and enlightenment. And in literature and art, marguerite flowers often convey ideals such as loyalty, purity, and love. And they're often given as gifts to symbolize devotion and affection. So I think she was very... it was meaningful to her to get this specific flower, and that she splurged a little bit to get that specific one. So I don't know how much they cost. I wonder how I should have looked that up. How much fresh flowers would cost. We saw a lot of fresh flower stands when we were there.
Oh yeah.
Even in September. So I guess that's just a common thing on this everywhere. We saw them everywhere.
Yeah.
In looking up the marguerite daisies, I came across something about the nickname Daisy, and so I wonder if this is where it came from. So I thought this is interesting about this particular lady. Her name was Marguerite Lena Parsons. She was also known as Daisy Parsons. And she was a very well-known British suffragette and a very remarkable woman. When I was reading about her, I thought, wow, she had to be a very powerful influence for women during this time. But she was born May 21st, 1890, which was 10 years before our great Aunt Daisy. in Poplar, London, England, which is also where Daisy was born. So, same area, about the same time frame. So, and then this lady played such a significant role in advocating for women's rights. And then I'll say this later, but Great Aunt Daisy, she never married and never had children. So she had to be a very independent woman. You know, so I don't know if that's why she picked this name up or nickname up, but Daisy Parsons joined the suffragette cause and was part of a delegation that met with the Prime Minister in 1914 to present their case for women's voting rights. She courageously spoke about her experiences as a mother, emphasizing that women should have a say in decisions affecting their children. After World War I, Daisy managed a baby clinic for the East London Federation of Suffragettes. She was also the first female woman mayor for West Ham. So in 1937, Daisy Parsons achieved a historic milestone by becoming West Ham's first woman mayor. And during her tenure, she opened the local Beckton Lido, if I'm saying that correct, and even got to drive the first West Ham trolley bus. So she was very significant during this time period, very influential. So her name, Daisy Parsons, would have been probably associated with strong, independent women, don't you think? And so Daisy's dedication was recognized when she was awarded an MBE, which is Member of the Order of the British Empire, in the 1951 New Year honors. So her legacy, Daisy Parsons' legacy as a suffragette, community leader, trailblazer, continues to inspire generations. And during that time period, in the early 20th century, the term Daisy gained prominence in London due to the suffragette movement. So that's a lot for me to say. But I just wanted to really emphasize how Daisy Parsons, that name, I'm sure, I'm trying to think. I know this is not comparable and this is not the same thing. But, you know, when you get called a Karen, you know, that a certain definition behind that, you're calling someone that, saying she's a Karen. No offense to any Karens out there. We have an aunt named Karen, so no offense. I'm just kind of saying how you can associate certain names. They become a certain characteristic. A Karen or I can't think of any others. What are some others?
I'm not sure.
I don't know either.
Yeah,
I'm sure there are probably many others, but kind of the same idea that she's a Daisy because she's a strong, independent woman who is fighting for women's rights, and, you know, so you would call her a Daisy.
Yeah.
So, all that to say, we do not know for sure if that's why Daisy picked up that nickname, but
It's very possible.
could be.
Yeah.
So, around the same time frame, around the same area in London, a very well-known lady, very influential. Daisy never married, never had children, so she was definitely an independent woman. And I have got to figure out where she worked and what she did, because her address that I have is in a building. I don't want to get into it, but I don't know what she did for a living. I need to find out. But so that's that. And you can let us know if you agree. And let us know, especially any of you who are from that area, from over in London or England, anywhere, that you may be familiar with Daisy Parsons, and you may know her story or her influence, or maybe she has influenced you to this day. We would love to hear from you about her. She sounds like a remarkable woman and very interesting, and so we would love to hear more from you all if you know anything. So
Yeah, definitely.
And then again, one more thing to say about this piece of the letter. She says that the armchair is waiting for him, which again is another indication that she's expecting him to return to London soon, but especially she's expecting him to return to London, which we know he did not. So she's still under the impression that he's going to be coming back to her there at the flat.
She goes on to say, "Well, darling, even if you were here and broke my cups and saucers and plates, I should still be happy. I guess you would love to have the chance now."
Our mother told us a story about Grandma kind of fussing about him going over there and to her flat. You know, he's from a southern town, probably farming, all that stuff. And she's in London, and she's got the coffee table and she's got everything spick and span, probably most of the time. And then he came over there and propped his feet up on that coffee table. And I think she really did not like that. So I don't know if he broke any of her cups and saucers, but that kind of makes me think that he may have not been very careful with her things, you know, and maybe he did break something, because she's kind of alluding to that.
Yeah, and she's saying she would still be happy just as long as he was there.
Yeah, come break my things.
Yeah, just as long as you're here.
Yeah, yeah.
"Sweetheart, I have done something I could never do before. Whilst I was writing this, a huge fly kept buzzing round, and I just could not stand it. So I got a tea towel, and when it was on the window, I lashed out, and the corpse is attached to the pane, and I just cannot bear the sight of it. So I shall have to get my sister to remove it when she returns." There seems to be a lot of these about this year, and it is impossible to buy fly papers. So I have got to try and reduce the population somehow. That is so funny.
I know, that's so funny that she doesn't want to remove the corpse of the fly. She's going to wait till Daisy gets back and make her do it. And we do have several of her tea towels, but also about the fly papers, she's talking about it's impossible to buy those, so that speaks again to the rations. That was probably something that wasn't available at that time. That was not important to be, you know, manufactured and all that during that time.
"The war news is so good that I cannot help thinking we shall soon be together."
Again, indicating that she thinks that it's going to be over, they're going to be back together in London, that he's going to be coming there to her. And I did look up and found a few newspaper articles during that time, and it does lead you to think that the war is going to be over soon, which in hindsight and in the long run, yeah, it is not much longer, but they still have to face that V2 bombing that's coming in September, and she's not aware of that. So there's still a lot of war left over from a day-to-day basis that they're both going to have to endure. And then of course he gets sent back to the United States before he can come back to her. So at this moment in time, she's still thinking that that's gonna be over. He's coming to London. They're gonna get married, and probably thinks very soon. Okay, so last time I think I also mentioned that we were going to give you more details about Jimmie and what's going on with him, and that there was an ambush that he was involved in that was directly affected him and his squad, or the battalion, the company, the A company that he was a part of. And so I want to read from the book that we talk about every time. And if you're interested in buying this book, I will link it below. I've been trying to do it some, but I don't have it linked on all the episodes. But if you do want this book, I'll put an Amazon link below, this Key to Command. And if you've not watched the interview with Michael Godbout, the author of this book, go back and watch that. If you haven't watched all of them, go back and watch that one. That's a good one. But, so during this time, the beginning of August here, Jimmie's still in France, and I think last time he was about to leave one area and go to the next. Okay, so I'm just going to read directly from this book, and this is an encounter given by Reed, and I don't think I know his first name. I'm sorry. He tells about this. He said, "We moved into a new area. We had no sooner arrived when we were called to the orderly room tent to be briefed on a big job. Our team and another were to work together to lay a lateral line from the forward elements of an armored division to a supporting infantry division. Captain Lewis and Lieutenant Segal were to accompany us. We got a late start, so it was well into the night before we finished. Enemy planes strafed us twice, if I'm saying that right. There was heavy fog hanging over us as we rambled along the dirt road. We were sleeping on the wire wheels. The jogging and lurching of the truck tended to lull you to sleep when you were very tired. The sound of machine gun fire woke us. There were tracers going over the top of the truck. We thought of strafing, but there was not sound of a plane. Captain Lewis yelled, "Abandon vehicles!" I looked up and could just make out his outline standing up in his Jeep. There was a blast from directly ahead in the fog, and he was thrown out of his Jeep to one side, and his driver, Seaman A. Denike, if I'm saying that right, was thrown to the other. Then came the sound of tank tracks and motors and orders being shouted in German. We dove off the truck, hiding in the ditch, and one of our team understood German and told us that the German tank commander had ordered none must escape. We crawled to the opening in the field and scattered in all directions, running like deer. Looper had been slow in getting away and was the only witness to what happened next. As the German tank pulled alongside the spot where Scott was laying, he opened up with his Tommy gun and managed to knock off about 3 Germans, but they lobbed a grenade at him and he never knew what hit him. So that looper there, I did confirm with Michael Godbout that looper mentioned there was our grandfather. And also the fact this ambush, they lost a company that he was part of, lost their company commander Lewis, a squad leader Segal, and 2 squad members in the ambush.
Wow.
So that had to be devastating. That had to be for our grandfather to witness that guy getting blown up with a grenade. I mean, that's probably one of his buddies, you know. To witness that had to be awful. And I can't imagine the aftermath of that and dealing with that. And thankfully, he was not a part of that. The part of the men that got killed. So we're grateful for that. But we wanted to share that with you because that's what's going on with Jimmie. While Lucy's writing to him, that's what he's going through. So Lucy's in London. She's with Daisy and spending time with Daisy and buying flowers and cleaning her flat and all of that. And Jimmie's over in France fighting for his life and fighting for freedom. So wanted to talk about that.
Well, dearest, this is not much of a letter, but I just wanted to let you have another one. For if it makes you a quarter as happy as I am when I receive yours, I shall be contented. With all my love to my darling old boy, from your Lucy.
So we continue on this journey with Lucy and Jimmie as they she details everything, and as we try to figure out and follow Jimmie along in Europe and all the things that he's doing. And so next time, Lucy and Daisy have gone to the pictures to see a movie. We'll learn about that. Now, this is where the trivia is going to come in. For our 20th episode, we're excited to do some prize giveaways again. It's been a little while. I think we did it on our 10th last time, right? So our trivia question is going to be to guess which movie. I know you've guessed books before, and so this time we're going to guess which movie Lucy and Daisy went to see. And so I'm going to give a few hints. It's a 1944 American World War II fantasy movie. That's your first clue. 1944 American World War II fantasy movie. Second clue, it's originally a play by Maxwell Anderson. And the last clue, the main character communicates with his loved ones in his dreams. So, And we're going to have to watch it before next time so we can talk about it. I want us to watch all the movies and everything that they go and see.
Yeah, I would really like that.
So, the first person to guess correctly by emailing us. And we want you to email. We don't want you to post it anywhere publicly, because if it's correct, we want to be able to tell you that it's correct, but we don't want everybody else to stop guessing. So we're going to reveal the winner in our next episode. So email us allmylovelucy@gmail.com with your guess or guesses. You can guess, as long as you get the correct guess and it's in there, then we'll let you win. So the first person to guess that and send us an email with the answer will win a t-shirt, one of our t-shirts, and I have one on right now, and I'll post these. We have black and we also have white available, so if you prefer the white one, you can choose which one. And then the second prize, we're also going to give a t-shirt for this one as well, but this is going to be different. The second thing is going to be for every person who shares one of our episodes on your social media. We're going to add your name to a drawing, and we'll draw that name on our next episode for another free t-shirt. It doesn't matter which episode you share. Pick the one that you like the most, whichever one. Doesn't matter. It can be this one. It can be last week, whichever. And just share it. We'll get that notification that you shared it, and we'll put your name in a hat or a cup for a drawing, and we'll draw that next week. So all you have to do, one share, one episode, and your name will go in. So, sound good? And then also, next time, Muriel, we'll go back and mention Muriel next time. And we are hoping to have some more information about her. I have found her last name finally.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know her last name, or couldn't remember her last name. So I found a letter. It was, I think in the 60s or something like that, but she had written her last name on it. I don't have a return address, though. She was on vacation. She wrote Lucy from vacation. So, but we're going to try to find more information on her. So, don't miss any of our upcoming episodes. We have a lot of good things coming your way.
Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, give us some comments.
All the things.
All the things, yeah.
Whatever you want to do. But do make sure that you vote and on the movie title and send that to our email. So make sure that's to our email address, allmylovelucy@gmail.com. And you can also just talk to us on there too if you want to contribute to the conversation. Talk about Daisy Parsons or whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
You can use our email if you don't want to do a public comment or whatever. You can do that. Also, don't forget, we are taking a survey. We need your help in the comment section. Please let us know what your favorite platform to watch on is. If it's Podbean, if you love watching on Podbean, let us know, because that's specifically what might change. We are considering just going to a straight YouTube format with no Podbean application. If you love watching on Podbean, if you don't want to watch on YouTube, we need to know that. We need to know what your favorite way is. So we're thinking about going straight YouTube because of our format, because we have a video podcast, because we're showing all these things. We are considering just going straight YouTube and eliminating Podbean altogether. And we do want to hear from you. So just let us know. We would greatly appreciate that as we make these decisions. And so, is that all?
Yeah, I think so. I
think so too. So as promised, we're going to have an uninterrupted reading of the letter here. So until next time, enjoy, and we'll see y'all next time.
August 6, 1944. My darling Jimmie. My sister is staying with me over the weekend and has just gone out for a while, so as you can see, I'm taking the opportunity to write a few lines to my darling. It feels rather chilly here, and I have just put on the gas fire. The room looks quite cozy today. Everything looks spick and span, and yesterday I was extravagant and bought 24 marguerites and have a vase on the round table, some on the oak combination, and some in the green jug on the mantelpiece beside your picture. And they really do look lovely and so fresh. And darling, I miss you so much and wish you could be here to sit in the armchair, which is waiting for you. Well, darling, even if you were here and broke my cups and saucers and plates, I should still be happy. I guess you would love to have the chance now. Sweetheart, I have done something I could never do before. Whilst I was writing this, a huge fly kept buzzing round, and I just could not stand it. So I got a tea towel, and when it was on the window, I lashed out, and the corpse is attached to the pane, and I just cannot bear the sight of it. So I shall have to get my sister to remove it when she returns. There seem to be a lot of these about this year, and it is impossible to buy fly papers, so I've got to try and reduce the population somehow. The war news is so good that I cannot help thinking we shall soon be together. Well, dearest, this is not much of a letter, but I just wanted you to have another one, for if it makes you a quarter as happy as I am when I receive yours, I shall be contented. With all my love to my darling old boy, from your Lucy. If you are hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode, and for that, we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We truly hope you enjoyed this episode, and we hope you'll return for the next episode of the All My Love Lucy podcast.